story down in the pub in the West Dock Tavern in Hull. Told to him as a true story, then heard the same story in all sorts of different places, and it began to acquire the dread tag of urban myth, and it sort of took the sting out of the song, really, because it's a song that ought to be true. So I started singing it less, which is a bit silly, I suppose, but there you are. Can't help it, I'm only a musician. However, I sang it on the spur of the moment when I was doing some gigs with Norma and Peggy Seeger, and we did a little tour, and one of the gigs was over in Bangor, North Wales, and I just sang the song on the spur of the moment, and it's called A Stitch in Time, and we went out into the foyer in the interval to sell CDs, which coincidentally I have, and you can buy them from me, £10 each, thank you very much. And this woman came, this small woman came elbowing her way through the crowd with that beeline. Where'd you get that song? I said, oh well, you know, Mike Waterson wrote it. It happened in the West Dock Tavern. It didn't happen there. It happened in our village. Oh, hello? Oh, really? What's your village called? I'm not telling you. Why not? Because you think we're stupid. I said, oh, I promise I won't. Tell me what the village is. Turns out that it happened in her little village, which is a place called Clydach in South Wales. And this woman was apparently about 4 foot 11 tall, and she did this, just like the woman in the West Dock Tavern. Well, the woman in the story in the West Dock Tavern did. This is it. Oh, there was a woman and she lived on her own, she slaved on her own and she skivvied on her own. She had 2 little girls and 2 little boys, and she lived all alone with her husband. For her husband he was a hunk of a man, a chunk of a man, and a drunk of a man. He was a hunk of a drunken skunk of a man, such a boozing, bruising husband. For he would come home drunk each night, he thrashed her black and he thrashed her white. He thrashed her to within an inch of a knife, then he slept like a log did her husband. One night she gathered her tears all round her shame, she thought of the bruising and cried with the pain. Oh, you'll not do that ever again, I won't live with a drunken husband. But as he lay and snored in bed, a strange old thought came into her head. She went for the needle, went for the thread, and went straight into her sleeping husband. And she started to stitch with a girlish thrill, with a woman's heart and a seamstress skill. She bibbed and tucked with an iron will, all around her sleeping husband. Oh, the top sheet, the bottom sheet too, the blanket stitched to the mattress through. She stitched and stitched for the whole night through, then she waited the dawn and her husband. And when her husband awoke with a pain in his head, he found that he could not move in bed. Sweet Christ, I've lost the use of my legs. But this wife just smiled at her husband, for in her hand she held the frying pan with the flutter in her heart. She given him a lamb. He could not move, but he cried, God damn, don't you swear, she cries to her husband. And then she thrashed him black, she thrashed him blue, with the frying pan and the colander too. With the rolling pin, just a stroke or two, such a battered and bleeding husband. And she says, if you ever come home drunk anymore, I'll stitch you in and I'll thrash you more. Then I'll pack my bag and I'll be out the door. I'll not live with a drunken husband. Ooh, isn't it true what small can do, with a thread and a thought and a stitch or two? He's wiped his slate and he's boozing through. It's goodbye to a drunken husband.